and welcome to the Society with Barrister Fatima Shaheen at PTVWorld. They say that there is no force more powerful than a woman who is very determined to rise, but a lot also say that it's easier said than done. How do we see Pakistani women rising to positions of power, to positions of leadership, and how is this journey like typically? This is something upon which we'll be shedding light during the course of today's conversation. Overall, we'll be talking about the various barriers that women do face when they do rise to positions of power, be it in terms of, those barriers which come from the system itself, or for that matter, those barriers which emanate from the societal mindset. In this regard, we'll particularly be talking about issues regarding discrimination, issues regarding harassment at workplace for women, and we'll also be talking about the role of the state and, of course, the very imperative role of the society at large when it comes to ensuring that women do get to exercise their fundamental rights so as to be able to work properly and smoothly in all spheres of national life. This and much more to follow on today's show, that too with an extremely eminent panel. Let me introduce you to my today's panel. I have Ms. Deeba Shahnaz. She is a rescue officer from Rescue 1122 Pakistan. Assalamu alaikum, madam, and welcome to the show.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much for inviting me.
You're most welcome. On which I'll come to you, and here your narrative again becomes very important. Ms. Fauzia has been kind enough to tell us about not one, rather various challenges that women do face in the course of their employment, more particularly focusing on harassment at workplace. Here, another issue which we do see very prevalent in the Pakistani society is that of non-inclusivity. So when we do talk about non-inclusivity, a lot of times we see that women, by virtue of such attitudes, are kind of dismissed or, for that matter, ignored at their own workplaces. For somebody who is working in a very predominantly male environment, did you ever come across such attitudes?
Thank you, Fatima. It was totally new field when I joined in 2006. As emergency service history is just 18 years. So it was difficult, really difficult, when you do not have role model in your field and you have to set the standards for the other generation. At that time, I was not the physical exercise type female. I was related to the mass media and came from the experience of the media related things. But why I switched my job, because in 2005 earthquake, when I volunteer myself, because few of close my family members got died in that disaster, and I wanted to work at the greater level. Right. I found state channel. For that, I started my volunteer work with group of the people, and what I did over there to reunite the disaster people and to coordinate with the camps, army camps, for the provision of foods and rest of the things. At that time I thought, why only media? Why only highlighting and informing and educating? Why should not be part of those forces, those things who are actually playing to save lives?
Who are directly involved in serving the humanity per se.
But at that time this service was not started.
Really?
And I joined another organization working as AD information, and one fine day I found an advertisement in newspaper, and I clicked. This is related to me. I am fulfilling this criteria. I should apply. But the condition was you have to visit to Lahore for the submission of the form. That was first ever thing.
So how did you make your mark in such a male-dominated profession, considering that statistics suggest the fact that only 1.25% of women overall are only there in Punjab Rescue Service? Wouldn't a lack of your visibility also add to your challenges? Because the fact that there are lesser women in any career or in any profession, that in itself would make it more difficult for them to be accepted in that very profession.
Exactly what you said at the end, same happened with me. One of my competitor male said, "Madam, you are hurdle in my selection." How I am hurdle? Madam, you are being selected throughout the process, and this is not the female related job, and you will leave during your training. It's very tough. I said, really? Oh, if it is, take promise, I will not leave. because I'm committed to do this, and if it is new and you are saying it's only men can do, I will do that.
Right. And since then, for more than 70, I'll come to you, Madam. Here, your experience in itself is also, of course, very important, considering that you are working for a very male-dominated line of work. So when we talk about your experience, what are those typical gender stereotypes that you do come across in the course of your work, and how do you particularly address those? Because a lot of times we do see that law enforcement officials, at least to the extent of police officers and traffic wardens, especially those who are female, they do complain. They perhaps might not be taken as seriously as their male counterparts.
We have very less number of the females in emergency service, first of all. Secondly, they are doing very good job, like they are on the ambulances, or either they are working in the control room. Both are very respected, because when you go for taking the patient from somewhere, and it's always nice to see the female is coming, even for the females, if the victim is female, then the people get satisfied.
Right.
So the role has its own impact of the society. Like our nature of job is totally different as compared to the law and enforcement.
Right.
Risk we have same,
but Madam, wouldn't less visibility in itself also kind of add up to your being not accepted? Because the more the women you see in any career, for that matter, in any profession, the more the chances are that the acceptability level would be higher.
Yes, there are different things. The laws awareness and laws implementation, and second thing is the policies related to females inclusiveness, how much it's friendly for any of the department, and third is the how much your females are skillful. If they are coming in any of the field, they should not be just for the decoration piece that you have fulfilled the quota. Rather, they should be skillful. They should be able to perform equally.
But when we talk about your experiences, I'm sure you've been working in rescue service for so many years, for almost 2 decades now. So what was that most challenging as well as satisfying case that you did come across in the course of your career, which you feel was that one case through which you actually did justice to your job and served the humanity in the true spirit?
Thanks Allah that I have served 17 years in life-saving service, and which actually have rescued 12 million people in the country. As far as my role is concerned, I have given different type of tasks like operations, community trainings, and operations as well. In my district, 9 years I've been serving in Rawalpindi, and I managed many of the major incidents. But I would like to share the recent earthquake in Turkey, where I was the only female. This actually the Pakistan rescue team was which is certified from United Nations for the international response, and luckily I am the only female member of this team, and
that's amazing.
Yeah, I have been interested to be part of that contingent, and I went there. And in
this operation that you're talking about, I remember that you were able to actually extract a woman out alive.
Yeah, you are very much right. And at that time, my role was totally different at base of operation, and my 2 guys came that they said there is the complaint from the citizen that there is voice of any trapped female. And we don't have any officer, they are working in the different sector, what should we do now? I said, okay, don't refuse them, I'm just coming, give me 1 minute, and I just put my personal protective equipment and went inside in the building. It was a 5-story collapsed building, and there was the search and rescue operation inside, and female was totally under the debris, and one of the, everything we managed, but one of the leg was under the pillar, and that was very difficultly, it was a very much risky operation, and a time came that our team leader and team commander was outside, and they asked about the condition, and we told, and they said, okay, we can manage the amputation and then we will extricate. I said, then hold. Then we inside the 2 guys and me, we decided, okay, we take maximum risk.
But in continuation to that, this is of course a very big achievement on your part, but when we do talk about the challenges that you come across, one challenge, if I look at it from an objective viewpoint, would be coping with the stress which does come with actually carrying out all these operations. So how do you tackle with that psychological stress? How do you tackle with that emotional stress which does come with, carrying out all these first-hand rescue operations, because there's so much bloodshed involved, there's so much injury involved?
Yeah, you're very much right. And one thing is the good practice of the organization. After every major incident we do debriefing with all the staff involved in the operation. In this way we do our catharsis. And second day, every person has the different mechanism to manage the stress. Organizational way, there are two things. One is the debriefing after every major incident. Second thing is we have the psychologist and they do the post-traumatic discussions, and
they basically give you psychological counseling
support,
so as to be able to come out of that mode. On which, madam, I'll come to you, and you've been leading very important expeditions, you've been leading very important programs, one being that of snow hike, and then other that you've been conducting in very extreme weather conditions, so to speak. But when it comes to training all these women potential rescue officers, what is it that you focus on so as to actually empower them, so as to actually motivate them to follow lead of people like yourself?
I think somebody should be passionate about something. Whatever you choose, you should be passionate to do that. And then focus your goal and focus on your training. As more as you are skillful, nobody can challenge you.
Right.
And fields are for you. And there is sky is the limit. I think sky is the unlimited. In my field, when we came, I strongly felt that there should be some female who should be there as guide us and like that. Later on, when we have done 9 months training, it was very rigorous process. Early morning at 4:30, you have to be in ground. I give credit to my organization. When I put my energies and sacrifice in everything, they gave me space. And today, I am the member of UN team. Why? Because I worked in operation, I worked in the community trainings, I made volunteers, I raised teams in the all union councils of Punjab. I tried to keep the females together, and those who have been selected in the Emergency Services Academy, for them to be a role model.
Right.
To be a role model, as madam said, that you need to do double job. To join emergency service, I think I would suggest to parents, first of all, if they feel that they can accept the uniform service and accept that there will be female less in number and they have to job in the field, whether it's ambulance, whether it's fire truck, whether it's the collapse structure, they have to work on ground. And second thing is, those females who wanted to join the emergency service, if this is their choice, because most of the places I go for imparting training and rest of the things, and they just take autograph. I see it's looks very good that you see somebody in the uniform and is well attired and everything, and you take for autograph. But the problem, the challenges, the training, the extensive efforts, they need to be understood by every...
Right, madam, your point is noted in itself. That is being promoted. On which, madam, I'll come to you, and before we conclude today's show, then something which is very important is, especially for all those young people, young women out there who are watching today's show and who would, as following your footsteps, want to actually become a rescue officer, what are those traits that they need to inculcate in themselves? Because a lot of times we see that there are some leadership skills which may be inherent in anybody's personalities, but at some times we also see that there might be leadership skills that people need to work very hard upon, and they have to kind of make them a part of their personality. So what would be the do's and don'ts of joining rescue service from you?
Yes, as you already said that physical fitness is more important. If you want to join, you must be physical fit. You should be able to complete 1 mile test, sit up, push ups, and sportsmanship spirit should be there. And second thing, what is the training that the job of academy, they will train you.
Right.
They will make you the search and rescue specialist, they will make you the first responder, medical first responder, and the firefighter, and swim. There is the swimming simulators, everything is there. But in your brain, there should be that you will do. You will not say no, because if you will say no and why, then you will not get the skills. And when you will be weak in the skills, definitely somebody will get benefit. Either you will be stuck off, or either maybe any male be dominating, and they will say that female comes but they do not work.
Right.
So they should be very much related to the mindset. I would like to add something. One, on this Women's Day, we had a online session with the Secretary Emergency Services, and I found a girl from the DG Khan, and she told that when we joined the service, my family was even opposing me. And today, and many of the females, especially in the delivery cases, they were not sent to the hospitals and they were dying. But today when they call and 112 females go there to
and not only go there for that, but even when you call Rescue 1122, I remember that females are the ones who actually receive your call, so they are your first point of contact that way too.
And female are responding, and today the culture of that area has been changed. I feel sometimes you need role models of different fields to show. That's why the female in leadership is very much important.
On which note I would like to conclude today's show. Thank you so much, Dr. Saiba. Thank you so much, Ms. Deeba, and thank you so much, Ms. Fauzia, for choosing to be a part of today's conversation. Well, to conclude today's show, we generally spoke about the different trends as we do see them emerging in the Pakistani society with regards to women entrepreneurship and women leadership. We also spoke about the various challenges that women do face in the course of making their way, of course, to top management positions. In this regard, whereas of course we cannot ignore the fact that overall we have seen over a period of time more and more women opting for male dominated professions. We've also seen more and more women leaders coming forward. If we do want this momentum to continue, then we need to ensure the fact that they are given not only of course a protective environment in which they can freely work, that too with dignity, but they also need to be ensured of course the fact that the society is such which accepts them for who they are. Strong, independent women per se shouldn't be taken as a threat. Rather, another way to look at it is the fact that, they should be taken as contributors to Pakistan's economy. On that note, signing off for today. Until next time, take care and Allah Hafiz.